Well, hello.
If lawn care were easy, everyone would do it. As well as TruGreen does it. In just 3 easy steps, TruGreen's online tools help customize a treatment plan for you. Our science-driven expertise ensures your custom nutrient-rich treatment works to deliver a greener, healthier lawn. And it's all backed by the TruGreen Guarantee. Our experts will make sure you're happy with your lawn. Guaranteed. It's time to trust your experts at TruGreen. Go online to get 50% off your first application.
So how could I resist with this large of a captive audience to not show you our brand new TruGreen commercial that I got to see on TV and my kids totally missed. But in all seriousness, I wanted to show it to you because I'm going to reference it a few times. So let me set the stage. TruGreen is in the grass business. We are not in the mowing grass business. We are in the making grass green, helping trees grow, and creating pest-free outdoor spaces that our customers can enjoy. We are obviously a highly seasonal business through most of the US and all of Canada. As you can see, we are a geographically distributed, branch-based business, and we grow our workforce by 500% every single year. That chart that goes up and the part that goes down only comes back up again the next year. So while I would say this presents a unique talent acquisition channel, and I like to think that I'm super special, so I'm going to tell you that it's unique, it really isn't. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is getting our leadership to buy in, also known as give us money. And what I do for that is I'll have conversations with them and I'll say things like, recruiting is a real profession that you have to financially back. Or I want to say things to them like, if this was really easy, it would be free, and we'd have to hire bouncers to keep the hordes of hungry talent out of our branches. If your leadership is as open to sarcasm as mine, you'll imagine that doesn't bring in the big bucks. But what really does is speaking their language. And for me, when I went to our leadership team and started talking about this, what does our employer brand look like in the marketplace? It was an unfortunately short conversation. And it was short because we didn't have one. And then they said, okay, well, if you want to figure this out, just go have a conversation with our chief marketing officer and figure it out. And so what followed was another really short conversation. And it went something like this. Rebecca, we already have a brand. It's Live Life Outside. You all just saw the fantastic commercial. Just use that. And I said, well, okay, well, what about the thousands of jobs we have that don't work life outside? And he said, well, Rebecca, it's not about that. It's about what do we want to deliver. It's aspirational. Our employees should want to live and be that customer, live life outside. And I said, okay, I guess I see it differently. And our next debate was really about who is the consumer. And what I said to him is, all right, TruGreen, it's a discretionary service. We're going after share of wallet, just like hotels, just like movie theaters, just like restaurants, and it's an absolute discretionary spend. And let's just say that the vast majority of the 15,000 associates we hire every year may not have that same level of discretionary to spend to become a customer, in which case, live life outside doesn't work. And that conversation around the fact that my consumer was different than his consumer was ultimately our biggest breakthrough. And I say it's a big breakthrough because it was the first time we got to have a conversation with the leadership team about how customer acquisition and talent acquisition really aren't all that different. Just like they go through these different stages of a marketing funnel to acquire customers, we do the same from a talent perspective. We can talk about things like awareness. How do we build our brand in the marketplace so that customers or job seekers are aware of us? How do we get them to consider us as an employer, or as a brand that they want to purchase? How do we turn that consideration into a sale? How do we get them to keep coming back or become raving brand fans who are willing to refer us? In marketing, you have technology, campaigns, vendor partners, talent at every stage of this process to try to build consumer demand. And all of these things, whether you want to or not, are speaking for you. I have another thing that I like to say, which is, in the absence of speaking, you're still talking. And in the absence of doing something, you still are. And my leadership team hates it as much as my husband, who gives me a lot of crap about it. But at the end of the day, everything we do as part of this process talks about the ease of buying with us, which then translates to consumers in terms of the ease of doing business with us. And so when we invest in our consumer experience, and we do, we spend a ton of resources. I mean, I wish our talent acquisition budget looked like our marketing budget. But when we invest all of these resources in it, we're trying to drive a consumer experience. And at the end of the day, talent acquisition is really no different. And when I take it to a talent acquisition side of the house, I mean, ultimately, it's just the same stuff. I just put talent acquisition on the top instead of marketing. Because just like marketing, I have Google search optimization. I have social media to try to generate leads. I too have a CRM, but for us, it's for candidates that feeds into an applicant tracking system instead of into a customer relationship management tool. I too have a simplified buy flow process. I just call it an application. I too want to generate consumer loyalty. We just call that retention. So helping my leadership team understand that these pieces are the same really starts to generate those linkages and create a conversation. I can even take it a step further and say things like, and I used to work in the travel business, so I always revert back to travel analogies. So just like there are travel purchase aggregators like Expedia, we have Indeed. Just like there are travel reputation platforms like TripAdvisor, we have Glassdoor. It is literally the exact same talent marketplace, talent experience as it is for our consumers. And for us, we have the benefit of having partners like Phenom, which is probably why I'm standing up here, to help us make that experience really come to life. And what that looks like is, okay, so when I think about our career website, does it look just as aesthetically pleasing and pretty as our consumer website, or is it totally an afterthought? Do I have just one simple way to buy as an applicant, or do I have many different ways? Do I have Indeed Quick Apply? Do I have a chatbot? Do I have high volume hiring? Do I have the ability to schedule an interview at the same time that you are applying? All of this speaks to an applicant, and they may call it CX or customer experience, but we call it EX or employee experience. And for us, that saying nothing, saying something is something that we can really manage. I mean, if you think about it, when you work with applicants, how long does it take to get through your application? How quickly do they get a response from you? How long does it take to get an offer? All of that tells an applicant the ease with which it may be to work for you or with you. All of that speaks on your behalf when you maybe do not have an opportunity to talk to them directly. And some of you may have heard my shtick on this before about buyers versus the seller's market. But in my mind, it is not necessarily all the technology you have, but really about how prepared you are to deal with the talent economy. And what I mean by that is if you go back to pre-COVID, 2019, if we can all reflect back to that ancient era, That was very much, from a talent perspective, a seller's market. We had way more applicants than we had jobs, and we invested in technology because it helped us to sift through the vast amount of applicants to find those with the best fit or match without totally breaking the bank from a talent acquisition perspective. And when it came to technology, we talked about things like assessments or experience qualifying questions. Actually, how do we add stuff in that is technology-based or automated to the hiring process so that we could take the human out of the loop and save money and make better decisions? But if you fast forward to today, where it is very much a buyer's market, where we have 3 working adults for every open job, and those working adults, it doesn't even tell us if they're available, like if we could even possibly hire them. In this type of talent economy, today, it's the investment in technology that you have to use to grab attention. What are you doing out on social media? What are you doing in every different channel that you have to reach an applicant to grab their attention and hold it? And when I talk today about an investment in talent acquisition, it is that preparedness for what may come our way. This talent economy will shift again. It's cyclical. It'll flip the other way. And when it does, how prepared are we for both sides? What technology investment have we made to make sure that we can find the best folks and that they want to work for us? And so I want to use Amazon as an example. And I pick Amazon because I think that I single-handedly pay Jeff Bezos' paycheck. But it really does also highlight for us this very critical difference between CX and EX. And ultimately, I think it's the truest for talent acquisition. So if you take Amazon, they are a technology-powered company. That's how they have built their business. I don't know if you've ever tried to get someone on the phone at Amazon, but like, I don't even think it's humanly possible. I'm not sure that humans work there because I have never spoken to one. The other thing that they've done is they've built their business on the ease of their technology platform. So when they launched, there was no job aid, there was no tutorial video, there was no checklist. You just went on to Amazon and you figured it out. It was simple. You just did it. And I would say how many of us can say the same about our application process, but instead of digressing, I'll just go back to Amazon. So let's say you go to Amazon, you have searched, you have found the absolute perfect product. You're super psyched. You go through, you type in all your personal information, you put in your credit card, you set up all your default payment information so that you can spend money without ever knowing it in the future. And then you hit submit, and you sit back and you wait for this package to come to you, probably the same day, if not then tomorrow. And then now imagine for me that that package only arrives about 5% of the time. How likely would you ever be to shop here again? Probably not that likely. But that's what we as talent acquisition professionals ask applicants to do every single day. And if you ask me, I would tell you that I think marketers have an easy job and talent acquisition professionals have the real hard one. And so if you look for us, we too have to market our jobs on social media. We too have to do Google optimization. We have to have simplified applications. We have to use all of the cool technology from Phenom that you're seeing over the next few days, past few days. But at the end of the day, we are only ever going to offer an applicant a job 5% of the time. Why the heck would they ever keep coming back? I mean, we go to Amazon because we get it every day. We get it literally 2 to 6 p.m. today. I'm getting like all my dog stuff. We get it every day. But for us, we're only ever going to reach out to them 5% of the time. And I have this long-standing joke that when you're a company and you are going to hire, every year feels like a day. But when you are an applicant, every day feels like a year. And you are just sitting there and waiting. And we're only going to call you 5% of the time. So at the end of the day, when we think of table stakes in this talent economy, it really is technology. if you don't have it for both the buyers and the sellers market, if you don't have it working for you, talking for you, that quote that my husband hates, then you do not have the tools and resources that you need to be successful. And I always try to get our leadership team to hear that message. But then I get a question back. All right, if you're telling me all this technology is table stakes, and maybe lots of other folks have it, then how do we, TruGreen, differentiate ourselves? How do we show up and really grab people's attention? And the way I like to think about it is this. Technology, it's just a bucket. It's a vessel. It's something that we need to fill. And we have to have that content to fill it. But it will work for me if I do it right. And so what that looks like is we have a consumer promise. Oh, I guess this one is fancy. All right. We have a consumer promise, and that consumer promise we put out there into the marketplace to let our customers know what it is like to do business with us. And we do that to get them to consider us, purchase, hopefully repurchase. I mean, the greatest compliment of customer satisfaction is loyalty. And we can do the exact same thing from an employee perspective. We can tell them what it would be like to work for us, except in our case, loyalty looks somewhat different. For applicants, that loyalty looks like someone who wants to work for us so badly that they're willing to come back and apply again and again, even if we're only going to ship them a package 5% of the time. Or it looks like employees who love working for us so much that they are raving brand fans who want to stay and talk about how great it is to work for us. And then, of course, my favorite part is we finally launched an employer brand. So I guess that's part of why I'm still employed at TruGreen, is because I got what I wanted. And at the end of the day, we have this beautiful employer brand that we launched last year. And what we tried to do with it was to show people those reasons to believe that working for us means something, or to put words around how it feels to work for us every day. Because like I said, in the absence of saying something, you're still speaking. And for us, we wanted to put words around it. We wanted to put words to our applicants to let them know why they should keep coming back. And we wanted to put words for our employees to let them know what we stand for as a company and what they can hold us accountable for. And at the end of the day, this is ultimately just what we call culture. And so for us, this culture is the true reason why we want our employees to stay, pun intended. And so what I wanted to do for you was to show you how this comes to life. You see the awesome posters that we can use as ads, but I wanted to show you what we use in social media and other avenues so that you can get a great sense of how to fill your bucket and how to use all of the amazing technology that you're seeing throughout the conference. So enjoy.